2019, the Blues got hot in the second half. They rode it all the way to the Stanley Cup final. They won the Stanley Cup. Can they do it again this year? Maybe.
The St. Louis Blues have won 10 games in a row. My goodness, they have now surpassed, in terms of points, they have surpassed the Minnesota Wild for the number one wild card, although by points percentage, they're neck and neck. Minnesota
just calls it the card.
That's true. I apologize. Minnesota is looking for the North card, though. They need to move back up.
That's right.
They're in the South card right now. So by points percentage, they still are in line for the North card, the Minnesota team. But for now, the Blues, having won 10 games in a row, are your Western Conference number one wild card in terms of points. They are on a heater's heater in this span since March 15th. Second in the NHL in goals per game, 4.1, which is second only to the Lightning. By far the best goals against average in the league, 1.4. Next best is Kings at 1.8. Their PK is, or their power play, I should say, is ninth in the NHL, 24.1%. Their penalty kill is best in the league at 90.5. I will get into the individual performances that are going on right now, but Jim Montgomery got those fellas scorching.
Yeah, and I think the biggest part of this, even bigger than like the record or whatever, is that they found their new Gloria.
Oh, yeah.
They found their new Gloria. Like everybody's making the comparison. 2019, the Blues got hot in the second half. They rode it all the way to the Stanley Cup final. They won the Stanley Cup. Can they do it again this year? Maybe.
Sean said yes.
They have their new thing.
Sean said yes.
Blueprint.
What's that?
So they're following the blueprint.
I mean, Sean was saying it when the
blueprint.
When the Bruins fired
Blues.
Jim Montgomery, Sean was buying stonks in the Blues.
I did say that. It was much more of a joke at the time, but yeah, I mean, they're doing the exact same thing. Why am I to not believe that they can do it again?
So let's pull a New York Islanders and we'll scrub the video of you saying it because people will be able to tell when you're being sarcastic. That classic Sean wit. Let's just do a straight transcript. And I'm sure from those episodes, Blues winning the cup. Good point, Sean. Not bad.
To specify, the new Gloria is Jobu from Major League, because after the Four Nations break, Jobu just apparently showed up in the St. Louis Blues locker room. Nobody's saying the origin story. Nobody's explaining how he got there. But since Jobu showed up after the Four Nations and got his own stall home and away in St. Louis, or for the Blues, they are 16-2-2. They're outscoring opponents 76-41. And his locker is placed next to Zach Bolduc. And Zach Bolduc has 10 goals since the Four Nations break. I think he's second or tied for first, or he's one of the Blues' top scorers since Jobu showed up.
Mercy me. What an impact. You want to get into some of these numbers? I'll give it to you. Since March 15th, when this 10-game stretch began, Jordan Kyrou tied for tops in the league with 8 goals. Going to ask you a trivia question off that in a little bit. Robert Thomas, second in the league with 19 points. Only who better?
Nikita Kucherov.
Dylan Holloway, third in the league with 15 points. Only who better?
Say again? Sorry.
Dylan Holloway is not tied. Third in the league with 15 points over the last 10 games.
So Nikita Kucherov.
And
Robert Thomas.
Very good, Pete. He knows puck. Jordan Binnington, second only to
Karel Vejmelka in starts.
Andrei Vasilevsky in save percentage. 940. Vasilevsky is at 942. The trivia question that I wanted to give you, Kyrou tied for tops in the league with 8 goals. With whom is this young man tied?
Leon Draisaitl.
Good guess. No. Not MVP material. Nathan McKinnon. Who is tied with Jordan Kyrou?
8 goals?
8 goals.
In how many? In what stretch?
Since March 15th. This is a player on a playoff team. This is a very big name player.
Alex Ovechkin?
No. Although, much like Alex Ovechkin, this is a player with experience being captain of a team.
Who is it?
say he doesn't have current experience being captain of a team.
Brad Marchand?
Nope.
I was going to say that math doesn't math.
Has experience being captain of his current team.
John Tavares?
John Tavares.
Oh, right. I mean, Tavares been really
Scorcher.
good. Yeah.
So how can we make this about the Leafs? Congratulations to John Tavares for playing as well as Jordan Kyrou. I had a mini panic attack last night when I realized that we might have seasons that back-to-back Conn Smythe winners might be Connor McDavid and Dylan Holloway, and the Oilers would have no cups to show for it. Because that at this point, like, is just Dylan Holloway is a fucking stud.
Broberg too.
And we all thought that both these guys were going to be good. Hand up, nobody except Bob Stauffer thought that Dylan Holloway was going to be like a star, like first line. I know that he doesn't always play on the first line wing.
Yeah, he's over a point per game since the break. And I mean, Broberg too. You look at Broberg. Broberg is a first pairing defenseman.
Yes.
And has been unbelievable. Like the Broberg Falk pairing has allowed 5 goals at 5-on-5 in their last 20 games.
Massive credit to Doug Armstrong, and massive. Obviously, we've kicked Ken Holland around for months over that, but we were talking before the show. Other teams should have been more in on this. This was an absolute theft.
2 other teams get to say we tried.
Blue Jackets?
Blue Jackets and Calgary Flames get to say we tried because they gave the offer sheets as well. And every other team fucked up.
Well, Calgary Flames should not be offer sheeting anybody ever again, just in case, after the Ryan O'Reilly incident. Just got to make sure they don't accidentally give away.
If you're the Flames and you do it correctly and you can steal like 2 of the Oilers players, like imagine if the Oilers players went to
Battle of Alberta
Calgary
would have rocked
had
so
these
much
seasons. The Oilers would be so fucking mad and so furious. Like they're still furious as they should be, but if they went to Calgary, oh my god! But
Dylan Holloway from
Calgary,
Alberta.
That's true. Yeah, same as Tate McRae.
Do you think this is going to just like open the floodgates?
So that was the next question
on offer sheets this offseason, because Clubber has brought up Utah needing to offer sheet Nyes, and I don't know about Utah specifically, but like Nyes does seem like the kind of guy that teams might want to offer sheet.
100%.
Nyes and Marner in Utah. I'm disrobing.
Nyes in Buffalo, New York.
Oh yeah.
Ew.
No, I mean, do it more. I've said forever that the whole like they're afraid of making people mad thing is bullshit, way overstated. It's more about inflation. But Pete,
Cap's going up.
Who cares about inflation? Deal with that shit later. And
future me problem.
All these, what's that?
Said future me problem.
This sounds like a problem for future Don Sweeney's replacement.
This sounds like a problem for whoever replaces Kevin Adams.
Yes, exactly. This sounds like a problem for future Kevin Adams' successor.
I gotta ask because I don't know the answer myself. Like the stipulations on offer sheeting, I assume that they have to do with the percentage of the cap, not like the hard numbers. Like if you offer a contract over a certain number, it determines the compensation that you have to give to. I'm assuming that's tied to percentage of the cap.
No, it is tied to what the number is. It's set every year. It's what the number is, and it is the total number divided by years or 5, whichever is smaller. So the offer sheet cap number isn't always the same cap number as the actual contract. And they do that to make the offer sheet cap number higher and make it more difficult to sign players away, which is why what Doug Armstrong did was a savvy piece of work. He, I think, legitimately gave the very, very tippity top maximum of the tier that made Broberg a 2nd-round pick and that made Holloway a 3rd-round pick. I want to say that it was 4.9 or something for Broberg and 2.9 for Dylan Holloway. And if it was higher than that, then you would have been looking at, I think, 1 first-round pick for Broberg. I'm not positive on that, but they do calculate it that way to make it a little more prohibitive and to make GMs think an extra second longer before offer sheeting guys. But I'm all for more offer sheets. It makes teams take care of their players. It like Holland obviously has now written a book on how not to handle guys that are coming up on RFA and see if other teams do it. I would love if we end up talking about Matthew Nyes in the offseason.
Oh, yeah. I mean, how does this affect the
Maple Leafs?
How does this affect the GM of the Year award? Like, would you throw in Armstrong as a strong candidate there?
I mean, Caps and Blues are the two.
Well,
like, how did that happen?
Caps, Blues, and then I would also throw in Chris McFarland from
Yes.
Colorado. Like, completely different team.
Chris McFarland, I said, deserves the heart more than Nathan McKinnon does.
But here's the thing about the Caps is that their GM is no longer the GM of the team.
Yes, fair.
Which, well, I guess like the GM who would deserve the award is no longer GM of the team. And that's like, has a GM ever won the award without being an active GM?
A posthumous.
Yes, while still being alive.
Is that the correct word,
clarify.
I mean, it is if you're implying that he's dead. Yeah. Which in spirit, I guess he kind of is. So yeah, sure.
He's passed on to a different role, something like that.
We all silly like the mayor.